this is Sonoma.
And this is Johannes.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And welcome back to another Rambling Reviews, where we review more than one game in one video. It's like a magical concept of review concept. Very fresh and new take on reviews.
And today we have two games for you.
Das.
Two. It's amazing. The first game we have for today is Moonrakers.
Moonrakers is a deck building game with some negotiation. This is a game I heard so many great things about from last year, and I just needed to play it. Even though like negotiation isn't my biggest cup of tea, it is not the thing I look for, but I do like it in some games. I think you agree with me. Like we enjoy it in, I think mostly in Cosmic Encounter,
yes,
and those kind of look like whimsical games. So
yes,
I was very intrigued to see how they mash together deck building, which is one thing I really enjoy, and then negotiation in that together. Before we dive into that, let's talk a bit more about, let's talk about the looks of the game. That's what we always start with because that's pleasant and nice. So let's talk about the graphical design and the artwork and components in this game. So this is the Kickstarter, the deluxe edition, just so you know. We got it sent from the publisher, so you know that before we go into it.
Yes, so I think the box and the looks of the box is very good.
Yes.
And I also think like the graphic design, like the artwork and the cards and ship parts and crew members are nice. But some of the text is a little small,
yeah.
I think. We have a big table, and we sat with a group of people, and I was far away from some of the cards, and I had no idea what they said. Actually, it was so small.
You're not used to sitting upside down, so that was kind of like the view.
Yes.
But they were kind of harder to read. But I like the art style.
Yes,
and
I
also
agree.
the insert in this. I do not know if that is in the normal edition as well, but the insert is very good. It has like kind of symbols to show where everything's going. Very, very good insert, and the box size is good. It could have been smaller without the insert, but I think the insert is a good addition.
Yeah, I agree. So before we talk about what we think of the gameplay, could you just like describe briefly what you do in the game?
Yeah, I feel like basically what I said in the beginning is what you do. It's a deck builder and negotiation game. So basically you have a basic deck builder where you can get new cards, like new crew members into your deck. You can also buy ship upgrades, which then gives you more of the basic cards into your deck. And then every time it's your turn, you are either just doing basically nothing, which in a normal deck builder like a minion, I look at my hand and say like, oh, cannot do anything, I'm not going to buy anything, done. And then in this game you can also buy something, or you're going to try a contract. And some of the contracts might be as easy as you can do them yourself, but most of the time you will need to get help from other people. So they will be able to help you then by adding their own card, playing their hand basically out of turn, and you can negotiate basically who will get the points, who will get what points, who will get what money, who will get the bonuses, who have to roll the hazard dice, which basically might be negative points for you. And that is basically what you're going to do, and the player who it's a race to 10 points, the player with the 10 points first is the winner. So we played 3 and 4 players just before somebody after we talk about this review and people say it shouldn't play with 2. This would make no sense to play with 2 for me. I know people have played with 2 and enjoyed it, but like a negotiation game with 2, I don't know.
Us too? No, I would skip that.
I think before you can start seeing your thought, but just before that, like it's very important to know, I think this is a group dependent game, and before we say everything we now have to say, most people have enjoyed this game. I've heard mostly positive things from reviewers and gamers of this game. So just have that caveat in mind before you hear what we thought about the game.
Yeah, because we are not a very negotiating group.
Nope.
I think our gamers group is like, we like to puzzle for ourselves. We like some player interaction.
Yes.
But
more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. But negotiation, we're not like as you said, we're not searching for that in a game.
Nope.
So when I heard of that, I was just like, oh, I don't know how this will go, but let's give it a try.
Yep.
And I like how people are doing new stuff, and this is one like attempt to bring like a classic Euro mechanism together with negotiation. And I don't think it works for me.
No, not at all.
Maybe it would have worked if I was a more negotiation type, but I don't feel like the stuff that we're negotiating is making me like invested in what's happening enough. And also if we're putting the negotiation aside, looking at the plain deck builder and how you're upgrading like engine building both your deck and also your ship.
Yeah, because the ship parts gives you some special abilities.
Yes, that is very basic and very slow. And that might be my biggest problem with this game is that
long.
Yeah, it's so long.
2 hours of nothing.
And as you said, if you have like a bad turn in Dominion, you trust your hand and it's like 1 minute and it's back to you. Here you basically, sometimes if other people are going to contract and you don't have anything to like contribute with or you don't want to help, it's sitting there for 5, 10, 15 minutes before it's your turn.
And also, like, some people like the negotiation. I personally enjoy the negotiation that brings out kind of like a role player part of me. Like, I'm being like, oh, I'm going to do that for that, and then trying to press it down, trying to press it, do things. I actually enjoy that quite a bit. But I think as you said, like, the combination here doesn't mesh well. And I don't, in this game as well, like it doesn't, if I go ahead in our group, this is important because it's our group, if I go ahead and I say, oh, I can help you with that, and then we start and I don't help, then the rest of the game, nobody's gonna ask me for help because I cannot be trusted. And in some games, I enjoy that, doing like the trickery of saying like, oh, I can help you there, and they're like, boop, no, I couldn't do that. Like the backstabbing stuff that works in some games. And for me, it works in shorter games and it works in less, I hate to use this word, but like less serious games. Like if you know what I mean, like this. And as you said, like, I'm sorry, like, I'm not trying to rehash what you said because I agree with everything you say. I think the biggest problem is that it feels like a slog. And there's nothing I can do that's interesting between my turns other than I look at my hand and I see what I have. And if you need something like that, I can say, oh, I can maybe help you with that. And if I do that, then we play those cards.
And that is another thing. Playing those cards take a lot of time too. And that is not exciting for me.
There's no interesting choices in that.
Yeah. It's like you've probably decided beforehand if you want to help like seriously or if you're bluffing. And you're hoping to get what you want. And that is kind of exciting for the one person playing the cards. Oh, I want to draw these 2 cards. Oh, I didn't get it. But for everyone's watching,
it's not those. In some games where someone does something like rolling the dice or doing something, you're going to be like, oh, cool, something cool happened, and I look at it. Here it's just like, oh, you're going to do a contract, I'm going to do something else because I can't do anything with it, I can't interact with it, I can't do anything. And also, like, one thing I do not like is that all of the cards are necessary basically at all times because you have one action, like to play a card, so basically you can play 1 card at your turn. But if you play a reactor, you get to play 2 more cards.
Yes.
So basically, if I start a turn and I don't have a reactor, I'm out of the round. Like I cannot do anything then. If I'm not like trying to sneak into and say, oh, I can help you with one thing, or I can help you with more, and I'm lying. So because like it makes it very uninteresting because all of the cards you need reactors to play the cards, and most of the time you will need trusters to draw more cards. So if you don't have a reactor and don't have a truster, you're basically not going to get to do anything. So let's say you do a mission that takes shields and crew members, for example. You cannot win that with only shields and crew members if not everybody joins and plays a card each. Because you need to play the reactor to get more actions, and you most of the time need to also play the truster to draw more cards. So basically then you need 4 different kind of cards to be able to do that mission. Of course you need to negotiate and you need to do the alliance so that we can do it. But let's say 2 people do it together and you need like 6 symbols. I still need to play reactors, maybe at least 2 of them to be able to do that mission.
Yes.
And there really aren't any interesting choices in that deck building. I do like some of the abilities.
Yes, I
do like some of the crew member abilities, some of the shipyard abilities. That is maybe like the most positive thing for me, and I like that. I feel like if I go more ahead now, I feel like I'm not just rehashing because most of the things is the slogness, and there's no really meaningful decisions.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to compare it a little to Cosmic Encounter. It's not the same game, like by all means, and this is more negotiation heavy than Cosmic Encounter, because in Cosmic Encounter you choose, you draw like your opponent on random, and then you get people to help you, but they don't like. there's no negotiation part
No,
there.
it's more about you asking for allies, basically.
Yes, and then we're playing, if I'm trying to invade your planet, then I'm playing like an attack card.
Yeah.
You will play one attack card. Maybe my allies will help me by like boost my value. So the negotiation is trying to bluff which card that I want to play, but also we can play a negotiation card to like compare. So, but I think that in that game it's like it's pure, you know? It's this pure back and forth. You can see like, oh, I don't want you to help me now because you are in the lead. Now let's us do a thing. And the player powers there are breaking rules. They're super awesome. In this game, I feel like it's just, it isn't enough negotiation in an interesting way, and the base game of the deck builder isn't excited enough either. So I don't have any of these like safe stools.
None
to
of
stand
them are
on.
like
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like if the deck building were like super crunchy,
Yes.
super new, super cool, and like the negotiation was good, that might have made it better.
Yeah.
I think like, but it's a very light game, but it's so long, and it's like
It's
my
so
biggest
long.
problem is that it's
Yes.
so long. Because like if it was an hour, I would still not love it, but it would be better. I think though, if you love negotiation and if you have that group dynamic where everybody loves backstabbing each other and saying, haha, I couldn't do anything, which is not for us, and you also love playing Dominion, then you might really much like this, because a lot of people do like this. I think if you love those two things, you might like this game.
Like this.
But for me, it's just not something I would ever want to play again.
Yeah, I
So
would not recommend this as a deck builder to anyone.
Oh no, not as a
So
deck
if you're
builder,
looking
no.
for a deck builder game
Get
and
another
you're
one.
not like super fan of the negotiation part, I would skip this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Like it's there's so many better ones out there.
Yes, I agree.
So should we do some final thoughts, or basically ratings, because we have film. These rambling reviews are basically just long final thoughts.
Yes.
So what do you want to rate this?
I want to rate it a 4.
Yeah.
It's under average for me. It's not a bad design. I just think it lasts too long is my main problem.
Yeah.
As you have heard already. So that is the main thing. Might enjoyed it if it was shorter, but negotiations like tend to take a little time because you're going back and forth. So yeah.
Yeah, I think like there is this game is very much like up and down. When I go and I do a mission by myself and I get to draw the cards I want and I get to do it, that is cool. And then there's 45 minutes where nothing of very much interesting things happen at all. And then I might be able to do one cool thing, or I join you on a mission and get that point I needed to do my objectives, to get those bonus points, and that might be cool. But there's nothing that drags me into it, and it just drags along. So I am gonna give it a 4.5, just because I'm a bit nicer than you. But it is just it's not something for us. But then again, if you are interested in this, do not get it because of us, because a lot of people like it.
A lot
so
of
go
people
and
are
check
saying
out other reviews of it
a lot
as
of good
well.
stuff
As
about it,
always,
so,
you should
yeah.
get your thoughts from different people.
Yes.
Then we got the new, things shifting around here. The new game from Stonemeier Games, Red Rising.
Yes. So this is actually based on like a book series.
Yes.
That's named Red Rising, and we have not read it, but I really want to read it now.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you do in this game?
In this game, this is kind of a weird game. I know it's based on a game called Fantasy Realms, which we haven't played. Basically, you have a hand of cards, and the cards you have in your hand is what you're going to score at the end of the game. So you're trying to make that the best hand possible. And all of the cards are different, and all the cards have very different ways to score. Like, there is a lot of different colors, because in this universe there is like a cost system with like 14 different colors, and if you're red, you're at the bottom of the chain, and then up all the way to gold. And so basically you might have a card that says 15 points, and at the bottom it says like 10 points if with a red, or 12 points if with this character, like a name of a character. And you're trying to build your hand. So on your turn you're going to play a card, and when you play a card you might be able to do that ability, and then you're going to draw another card from another of these. There's 4 different spaces that gives different bonuses when you draw cards from them, and you get that bonus. That's like basically, it's a very basic game. You're either playing the card or you're scouting when like basically you're happy with your hand, you're drawing a card from the top of the deck and placing that somewhere and getting that bonus. And those are the only things you can do in the game. It's super duper simple. And Stonemeier Games has kind of like a shaky story with us. We're not usually like... We have enjoyed most of the games, but none of them are games we put like high tier. And I was interested to see what I thought about this. We didn't know much because that's how Stonemeier usually do their games. They just like game, and people get hyped, and people buy it, and people play it, and they say it's a game.
But first off, it looks amazing. We have the collector's edition though, so
got it sent from Stonemeier, just so you know.
Yes. And the insert is really nice. The cards, like the artwork on the cards, are really nice and colorful. And
the artwork is amazing.
It's just like nice sitting there looking at the different characters.
Oh, yeah.
And the details on the card. And the graphic design is very plain, but it looks alright. Yes.
I think it works. I think that the artwork and components there are really good. There's one thing, and I think the normal edition is actually better because in there are metal cubes for different colors. And there's just so many colors you can have in metal, it seems like. So like gold and yellow is the same. It's almost the same. And blue and the other one.
Green.
And green. Those are almost the same.
And it doesn't look like the blue on the cardboard.
No.
So it's not like the perfect match, but it doesn't bother me that much.
No, but I know people like if you don't have the best eyesight, if you are, it's gonna be a problem because but they're not a huge part of the game, so it's not like a big problem, but it might be a problem. It's just like little thing I would then rather just have plastic cubes with actual colors.
Yes.
And that happens when you get a collector's edition. I don't know. I haven't checked what's in the other one, but I would guess that's a part of the collector's edition. So I think components and artwork is good. There's little card holders. Those are like basic plastic card holders, but it works well. So I think the artwork, as I said, is splendid and it's so beautiful.
Yes.
When you play the first time, I was like, just looking at the cards, those looks amazing. The artist here, beautiful work. I love it. And as you said already, really intrigued to learn more about the universe because there's so much weird stuff going on in these cards.
Yes, and the game also, I liked it a lot. First off, it's very fast. Both like the game is a short game.
Yeah, it's
like
45 minutes an hour,
But like the turns go very quickly because what I do is I usually play a card and then I pick up a card and I do an ability and I get what bonus I get. And it's different bonuses, but it's like majority-ish to either get points or like more points than the others. And it's like the game ends when you get to the top of the track or to a certain amount.
There's 3 different goals that you need to reach, or if one player gets 2 of them.
Yes.
So it's kind of in the Stonemeier, they like these kind of like you have to get to these different goals to get to win. And those are basically moving on tracks, but you get some resources, or you place resources, or you move on a track. So I agree with you. I was pleasantly surprised. Before we go into this, you must know, and as you should probably know if you watch our channel, I'm not a fan of randomness, and there is a huge amount of randomness in this game. So you might lose just because somebody else got a card at the end that says discard a card and draw a card from the top of the deck. And you draw it, it's like, oh, that gave me 50 points, I win now. And you just have to be fine with that. And I strangely really liked it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think I would when I knew like how much randomness there was in the game. And there is too much. Like there is too much randomness because I am sitting in a game and it's like, oh, and then I just lost 20 points because you did something that you didn't know I lost 20 points for. So there's a lot of that kind of randomness. And I would say there is too much. Like if you are like me and you don't like randomness, and you're probably going to think there's too much randomness in this game. But I still like it. And I have a hard time explaining why. Because it's not a 30-minute game. It's like a 45 minutes to an hour game. So it's like not on the longer side, but it's like longer than a short filler. I think you couldn't get it down. Like if you have played, if you know the cards better and you see them.
Totally.
What makes this, of course, random is the amount of cards, and all of them are different. So you get a card that says 25 or 30 points if with this specific character.
Yeah.
And you need to get that character. But then again, there are a color orange that can then fake being other characters, so you can get that. And so there's different ways to get around that. So I think there's a lot of positive. It's so hard to say something about this game.
Yeah, there's all of the cards in the deck are unique.
Yeah.
Both in name and ability and also the scoring, which means that I can wait a whole game for a card that will never show up.
Yeah, so
and
you
then
shouldn't
I
play
have
that
to
way.
then I have to take like a decision in my own head. Okay, do I want to risk waiting for that card or do I want to then get rid of that card and get another one on my hand and try to score that instead? And I like that aspect of the game, trying to like, okay, push your luck a little. Do I want to hold out for that one? Or, oh, I see 2 cards on the board that I really want. I can try to get the other one. Oh no, you snagged the other. Okay, so I didn't get that awesome scoring. Maybe you will play it for an ability, then I can pick it up later. Okay, I really want to play my ability on this card, but I don't want to lose the scoring. Maybe you'll grab it from me. I really like that. But when you have a game that is basically play and draw cards to make the ideal scoring, and all of the cards are unique.
Yeah.
There's a lot of randomness.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I can start with a hand that is perfect without me like doing a single thing.
And of course, very unlikely.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely. And you can start with a lot of cards that don't work together. That
Yeah,
will also
absolutely.
happen. But I like just about this game trying to see opportunities.
Yeah.
Both what the other players are going for, seeing what cards they pick up, trying to not allow them to get great scoring cards for their strategy if you know it, but then also try to play the cards that you need to play, but still get that like ideal scoring hand. So I think even though it's a lot of randomness and luck in this game, it's like I'm ready for it. You just have to be prepared and like turn your brain around and just like, oh, this is that kind of game, and this is about doing the best of what you have, basically.
Yeah. And I think it's more like this is not a game you can play competitive. Like I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna win, because you don't know if you're gonna win. Of course, you can do bad or good decisions, but that might not. And it's so weird because if you go back and watch the Why We Hate Randomness game, randomness. Is basically the reasons I hate randomness is when my decisions doesn't matter for the outcome, and they do matter here, but they might not matter all of it basically. And there is I don't have a lot more to say. Like I like this more than I thought. I think it's a very enjoyable game. It's not one I'm going to pick up to play a lot, but it's one I want to have in the collection because it has that. I don't have a lot of those like pretty quick card playing games, and it looks so beautiful, and it's not very deep, super simple to teach, and it's fun.
So simple rules.
It's just fun. That is one thing I really enjoy. I just have fun playing it. Not like top tier. It's not going to be top game of 2021, but it is a fun game.
Yes,
I don't have too much more to say. Should we do some final thoughts, or do you have a lot of more to add?
I have a rating.
You have a rating. Let's do
you
a
want
rating.
me to add that? I'm going
yes.
to give it a 6.5. I think it's a decent game, above average, but like not of my favorite games to play, and I hope there will be better games coming this year as well.
It will. I agree. It's going to be a 6.5. It's a game, but I want to keep it because it is fun, and it's colorful and nice, and I enjoy having it.
Yeah.
I'm playing it.
Yes.
And that's the end. That's the end of another video. If you
video,
are still here and you have not subscribed, please do so now. It's free, it's fun, and it makes us happy. And you can also, if you have some money to spare, you can help us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/boardgamingramblings. That helps us out as well. And that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.